Mm. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. 6:39 a.m., 6:40 a.m. Sydney time. I'm having my breakfast. There's a lot of Chelsea news to get through, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be another one of those Chelsea news blitz. Let's get into it.
All right. Here we go, back again on the other side of the coin.
All right, welcome back to the other side of the coin, ladies and gentlemen. We've got so many things to whiz through today, and I want to hear from each and every one of you guys what you think about all of these news that's been floating around. So let's get straight into this. First of all, ladies and gentlemen, it's all about Romelu Lukaku, and we're going to get to other news as well. Rudiger, Christensen, Azpilicueta, a whole heap of information that's been dropping. But it's important we touch on the Lukaku latest. This is what's been happening over the last 24 hours. He's been quite upset, Lukaku. I'm told by the reaction to the story, the way it's all blown up, he didn't think it'd be quite as brutal as it has been. Dean Jones via Give Me Sport. I mean, he didn't think it would be as quite brutal as it has been. Well, what were you thinking, mate? Actually, you weren't thinking. That's the issue. Lukaku intention wasn't to start a push for a move away from Chelsea. I'm told he's a bit surprised on how the brutal fallout has been from the interview. He was advised not to do it for this very reason, though, via Dean Jones Soccer. Once again, he was advised not to do this. So I'm not really sure why he didn't listen to the advice. For the guy to think that he's surprised by how brutal the fallout has been makes me think he's not as smart as we thought initially he was. A lot of people say that he's a smart individual. I'm not really sure now how smart this guy is. I think it's got to do with a lot more how egotistic he is as opposed to how smart he is. Romelu Lukaku is not expected to leave Chelsea FC in this month or next summer, according to Nizar. So it looks like we're not going to get rid of him this particular window. And I didn't expect him to go this window, but I thought maybe in the summer we could probably part ways. But it looks like maybe not even in the summer. I mean, it will be so difficult to get rid of him. It would make a massive loss. So let's see what happens. It's understood some of Lukaku's angst came due to Tuchel handing him an 8-minute cameo against his former club, Manchester United. I mean, that was his first game back from being injured. How's he expecting any more than 8 minutes? And that 8 minutes, he didn't even look that good. He was slow. He looked very much out of touch. And that's understandable. You've been injured. You've been gone from the game for a little while. And for you to, think that how come Thomas Tuchel didn't give me more minutes against Man United? Relax, mate. There's more games. You will play Man United again later in the season. This isn't the end of the world. This is why it makes me think it's got to do with a lot of ego. He's very egotistical. One source suggests that some of Chelsea's players feel like Lukaku is pushing for a move and questions why he said what he said. Tuchel appears to have the backing of the squad and consulted Jorginho, Kante, Azpilicueta, and Rudiger before dropping him. This is good. Thomas Tuchel, as much as he's the gaffer, he's the number one, but he does include the team, the leadership team, to see how they feel, because this is how you maintain group harmony. This is how you maintain positive sort of scenarios within the team. And it's great that he's consulted with the leadership group. It's good to see Rudiger is part of that as well. I mean, 100% he needs to be. Kante as well. I think Mason Mount's name is missing. I'm pretty sure Mason Mount was also part of this, apparently. Correct me if I'm wrong as well. And it's great to see that it was unanimous and the entire team didn't want to see Lukaku being part of that particular match against Liverpool yesterday. So it's good that Thomas Tuchel is very inclusive and he puts the team first, understands what they want, and then comes up with a decision. It's very good to see. These are some of the latest that's been going around with Romelu Lukaku. Let's have a look into it now. Romelu Lukaku now insists he wanted to join Chelsea in the summer and that nobody forced him to rejoin the club. This is from Sky Sports. I mean, the damage is done, mate. You said what you had to say. And on top of that, you were surprised that there's been such a brutal fallout. So it doesn't matter what you say anymore. And in fact, I can't believe there's not an apology yet, publicly. I think he needs to apologize to the football club, the manager, his teammates, and most importantly, the fans. Romelu Lukaku now believes it was a mistake to do the interview and should not have made the comments he did. I mean, if you realize, that's great. There is zero chance of Romelu Lukaku leaving Chelsea this summer or this month. A transfer away from Chelsea has never been discussed. Fair enough. I didn't expect him to leave this transfer window anyway. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is what's been going on, the latest on Romelu Lukaku. There's some pictures floating around, I believe. Let me see if I can bring that up. That Romelu Lukaku is actually in training today. Who's got those pictures? I think Absolute Chelsea might actually have those pictures. All right. There's pictures floating around that he's in training. Let's have a quick look. Pretty sure we'll find it here. Actually, yeah, it was from Fabrizio. Fabrizio actually had that. Look at Fabrizio Romano. Yeah, here we go. As you can see, this is the latest picture. Looks like Romelu Lukaku has been training today, and look, it's good. Let's get this situation resolved. Let's get him back into training. I still want to see him apologize. At the end of the day, it was very far-fetched to think that he's going to leave in January. Let's see what happens in summer, and then where he's, where the club and also his feelings are at that moment. But this is what Fabrizio Romano said. Chelsea position still very clear. Also, after today's meeting between Lukaku and Tuchel, Romelu won't leave the club in January. No way for a loan too. Tuchel will discuss his decision tomorrow. So obviously there was a meeting earlier today, which hopefully the information of that meeting will come out tomorrow. Lukaku was involved in today's training session. Something good, definitely. So this is the picture. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll see what happens, whether he plays in the match against Spurs coming up in the Carabao Cup. But obviously he's missed out on the Liverpool. He was punished. Maybe he needs to get some of his wages docked as well. And who knows, maybe he doesn't get to play that Spurs game. And after that, perhaps he can come back into the team. But as I said, I still want a public apology. Let me know how you feel about the whole situation as it's sort of winding down. I'd love to know what you all think about this as well. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, Tiago Silva. As you know, this is the latest news that's popped up in the last couple of hours. He has signed the contract extension. It's fantastic news for me. Honestly, ladies and gentlemen, this is probably a far bigger contract extension situation than Andres Christensen, for example. To be honest, I don't really care at the moment what Christensen does. But this guy staying for another year is effing brilliant and wonderful. We need this guy. Lots of young CBs. Chalobah's still in the team. Levi Colwill possibly being part of the team. There's been some reports floating around that Thomas Tuchel wants to see Levi Colwill in the preseason. This man is going to be so important for these young CBs. And plus, if we get someone like Jules Koundé as well, he's going to be vital for the development. And just to have him around for these centre-backs, they can learn so much. Tiago Silva, to play here with Chelsea is real pleasure. I never thought I would play for 3 years here in this great club, so I'm very happy to stay for another season. I mean, this is how you do contract negotiations, ladies and gentlemen. Be clear in your head. And this guy, he simply loves Chelsea. He absolutely loves Chelsea. There is no doubt in his head that he wants to stay at Chelsea. His family loves Chelsea. His wife just tweeted it out as well. They love being in London. This is a great news. This is a great news. And I'm so ecstatic that Tiago Silva is staying for another season. I hope he stays for even one more after that, hoping that his health and everything is fine, his fitness level is fine. Let me know once again what you think about that particular contract extension. Real Madrid does no longer consider signing Antonio Rudiger. This is via Madrid Extra. Real Madrid, PSG, Bayern Munich, and Juventus have open talks with Antonio Rudiger's representative over a pre-contract agreement this month. Chelsea want to extend Rudiger's contract. Staying at Chelsea has not been ruled out. Sky Sports News. As I've been saying on the website for weeks now, Antonio Rudiger is yet to decide his future, as now confirmed by Di Marzio. Chelsea will now hold more talks with him this month. Was actually written by Nathan Giesing for Di Marzio. So this is CFC news page from Instagram, Nathan Giesing. If you haven't followed him, follow him. He's now got a Twitter account. Look, ladies and gentlemen, I absolutely love this. I want Chelsea Football Club. Honestly, I pray. I put my hands together. Chelsea Football Club. You've done Tiago Silva contract extension. Kudos. Well done. Tick mark. Brilliant job. We needed that. That was a very important contract extension. Just as important is this now. This brother plays his heart and soul. There's a picture in, let's just have a look, the Chelsea Twitter page, which demonstrates exactly, how I feel about Rudiger. I mean, this guy, he puts his heart and soul in the match. He really does. Look at this. Thanks for the fantastic support. Look at this. Rudiger absolutely flat on his back after that match against Liverpool. We gave it everything. This is how he is on every single game. He puts his heart and soul. He leaves his blood and sweat behind. The man is all Chelsea. He's all Chelsea. And his S-housery is something we need. He's a leader. As you can see, Thomas Tuchel in that Athletic article consulted with Rudiger as well, amongst other players. Chelsea, I honestly, sincerely ask, get this particular contract extension done. Try and see if you can find a middle ground. I know he wants a lot of money, but find a middle ground. See if you can add some bonuses. I don't know. But get it done, mate. Get it done. This guy, if we continue with the back three, let's say, for example, which I think Thomas Tuchel might. We'll see. I don't know what he does next season. As an LCB, he's one of the best in the world, if not the best. So for me, get this done, Chelsea Football Club. Please get this done. Next up, Andres Christensen has become part of the agency company KN Partners, who have good connections to FC Barcelona. Christensen was very close to signing a new 4-year contract at Chelsea, but decided to stall it after Barcelona started to show interest in the defender. Now everything has to start again. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, I'm fed up. I'm fed up with this. You can go, Christensen. I don't want any player that's going to be stalling. And this particular scenario was apparently done months ago. We were hearing Christensen contract extension is just around the corner. It's just around the corner. It's approved in principle. It just needs the signature, final authorization. Now we're in a situation where Christensen seems like he's testing the waters. It's January transfer window. He can sign a pre-contract. He might be even looking at the Rudiger situation as well, wanting more money. And that's fine, each to their own. But if you're not clear about Chelsea Football Club, please leave. Please leave. Because Chelsea's apparently given him the contract, amended contract as well, everything that he wanted. Chelsea's given him that. Yet it's not good enough because he thinks there could be something better out there. Well, move on, mate. Honestly, move on. Stop dilly-dallying around. And I don't know how, this is what I want to get over. And this is what I want to send out a message to each and every one of you guys, the Chelsea fans out there. We don't need players that are going to be confused about the Chelsea future. It's quite straightforward. Either you want to stay or you don't. Can't be confused about the future of Chelsea. We've got a gaffer and we're going to be aiming to win a lot of things. And you've already put in Champions League under your belt, Super Cup under your belt. You're possibly going to have the Club World Cup as well. Come on, mate. It's not that difficult to understand that Chelsea Football Club is the place to be. But let me know what your thoughts are, ladies and gentlemen. For me, I'm a bit over this situation. This brother was meant to sign a long time ago, but he still isn't. And now I'm over it. I'm really over it. Cesar Azpilicueta wants a 2-year contract extension with an option for a further year. But Chelsea are currently only willing to offer an initial 1-year deal with an option of a further year. A summer move to Barcelona tempts him. This is from Nathan Giesing as well, who's Chelsea CFC news page in Instagram. Ladies and gentlemen, look, I think Thomas Tuchel wants this particular player. Obviously, Cesar Spilicueta is the captain of our football club, and he's very influential from that particular perspective. Very well respected, legend of the club. I'm a bit torn about this particular news. One side of me thinks that, you know what, your time's up, Cesar Spilicueta. You are slowing down. You are declining. You're absolutely out of fuel in the second half. Like after 50th minute, even sometimes in the first half, 40th minute, he's absolutely panting. Second half, after 60 minutes, he's tanking big time. So, look, you can tell he's declining, and we need a lot more pace. We can't use Azpilicueta as a wing back. As an RCB, maybe he can still do a job, but Chalobah's taken that position. If we get Koundé as well, Christensen sometimes plays in the RCB role. So his minutes are reducing very, very, very quickly. Obviously now, with Reece James being injured, he's going to play a lot more games, but we probably are looking at another wing back in this particular January window. We'll see what happens. And he's got aspirations of making it to the World Cup. So if you're going to play in the World Cup, you need to play on a regular basis. How much regularity he's going to get next season, because the World Cup is next season, this year in December, this might tempt him. And the fact that he's not getting a 2-year contract as opposed to, the 1 year given from Chelsea, that could be quite telling. And Barcelona at the moment are looking for scenarios where they can get, players on a free. So look, one part of me thinks he's a legend, and maybe he still has value in the team in terms of seeing some of the youngsters coming into the team, and he could be quite influential for them. And he could be an influential figure next season as well. Particular captain that's not overly involved in games, but still outside of games is very important. But I can understand from his perspective as well, and the fact that he is declining. Yeah, and maybe it's the right time to part ways. But once again, let me know what your thoughts are, ladies and gentlemen, about this particular news. Ruben Loftus-Cheek is back in training, ladies and gentlemen. This is good to see. I was literally thinking the other day, where is Ruben Loftus-Cheek? I know he was injured, but it's good to see him back. It's a good rotational option, and it's a good option off the bench. And I think his cameo appearances earlier in the season and also a couple of starts were good. Once he was sort of played on a regular basis when we had the injury situation, I don't think he was that great. From that Man United game, Wolves game, and all of that, I don't think he was overly ecstatic. Even that Watford game, he made a mistake. But it's good to see him back. Look, he needs to set the world on fire, if I'm being honest. At the moment, he's just a bit part player, someone who we can rely on off the bench, but I don't know whether we can rely on him as the fourth choice midfielder, which is a very important, position for us because of the injuries that we have with Kante. Sometimes Kovacic picks up the injuries as well. Jorginho is someone who is getting run down. So that fourth choice midfielder is very important. And I don't know if Ruben Loftus-Cheek has absolutely grasped that as yet. So we'll see what happens. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, let me know. Do you get a midfielder? I think it's quite unanimous. Everyone wants Tchouaméni or Declan Rice, or a playmaker kind of midfielder. Ruben Loftus-Cheek, he seems to have all the skill set, but for some reason, it's just not clicking on a regular basis. So we'll see what happens now that he's coming back, which is a great news, gives us a bit of depth. Last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, Ben Chilwell back at Cobham. As you can see, the operation surgery was a success. This is what Ben Chilwell tweeted a couple of days ago. Good to see him walking about at least. I'm concerned about this. They're saying that possibly start of next season, maybe even after a couple of months after next season. We'll see what happens. Is he going to be back to his physical best when he comes back? I don't know. Is he going to be the same again? He was having a phenomenal season this particular season after having that tough start. But let's pray he comes back. He was doing a madness for us. And that ACL injury, as you can see, I'm hoping he comes back stronger, to be honest, ladies and gentlemen. Well, that pretty much wraps up all the news, Chelsea news, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you guys have enjoyed this segment. Let me know about each and every one of the news that we've covered, how you feel about it. I want to hear comments from you guys. I I want to interact as much as possible. Thank you for so much love you guys have been giving in recent times. Smash the like button if you're here. And if you've enjoyed it, if you're here for the first time, subscribe. We are now running wild towards 10,000 subscribers. It's moving quite fast. And hit the bell notification to stay in touch with all my content. Until next time, see ya.